Welcome again to the big match. Today we plunge deep into the battle at the top of the First Division with a clash between the top two, Queen's Park Rangers against Derby County. And to add to that, the visit of challengers Manchester United to Sheffield United. And as we go into the Second Division, we pick up the match that provided the wrong sort of headlines this morning as Johnny Giles of West Bromwich Albion is sent off in the match against Luton Town. But without any further preamble, let's go straight across to Loftus Road and join the 25,000 crowd as Queen's Park Rangers come out, top of the table on goal average, unbeaten in their last 7 games, and with memories still of a 5-1 win they had at Derby earlier this season. But there's a change since then in this Derby side. They've pulled themselves up to second place in the table, and now amongst all their established and familiar faces, there's the new and expensive one. Last one out, there he goes, Leighton James, their £300,000 signing from Burnley. So all is set then for Queen's Park Rangers against Derby County. And as we look at the two team sheets, it is of course the first full game for Derby's new signing Leighton James, number 11. And such is their strength that Kevin Hector is merely named as substitute. As for Queen's Park Rangers, manager Dave Sexton, with great boldness, again leaves out Stan Bowles. John Hollins keeps his place in the number 4 shirt. Mick Leach goes to number 10, and 17-year-old Phil Nutt is the substitute. A mixed day for Derby and their fans, because with the arrival of Leighton James, number 11, it's also the last game for Francis Lee before he begins a 4-match suspension after that Norman Hunter affair. But now the crowd is anxious for the action to get underway.
So the noise swells as the clash between the top two gets underway. Queen's Park Rangers attacking the goal to our left in those familiar blue and white hoops. Derby County today in a change strip of yellow shirts with blue shorts. Leighton James with a touch to Charlie George. Archie Gemmell. Francis Lee. Colin Todd joining up there. Bruce Rioch. Derby, who were beaten 4-1 in the league here last season. And Rangers have already beaten them 5-1 at the baseball ground. Here's Rioch, cut out nicely though for Rangers by McClintock, but a shot by Henry Newton, wide and high, and a goal kick to Rangers. Referee today, Alf Gray of Great Yarmouth. Here's Clement. Givens, a little too high even for him. Now Givens might get this one on Francis. And Alria. Archie Gemmell. Played on for Rioch. Lee, back for Rioch again, and hit too firmly towards Lee. No chance of him controlling that. Nice little bit of play there between Givens and Francis. But there's the formidable barrier of Colin Todd. Quite unshakable. Clinton. Thomas there first. Played for Hollins. Clement making a run down the right for him. That's the ball hit towards Dave Thomas and hit well for him. Rod Thomas is marking him, and here's Gillard playing in the early ball to Leach. And Todd again getting that one away, and Rod Thomas in the end content to put it behind for a QPR corner. So David Webb up again. And Dave Thomas with the corner. Hit deep. Well, no, there was some pushing. Ball came over, the forwards got up, it ended in the back of the net. But Alf Gray had no doubt there was some pushing there, and it's a free kick. Now Gemmell. Givens took a whack in the stomach, I think, as he went to get that ball. fit enough to go on, I think, Don Givens. Leighton James to Charlie George, a little touch on, and Lee almost got there, but Gillard again was there first. Hollins. Nice. Here's Leach. Left for Francis. And now Dave Thomas facing Rod Thomas. A long shot. My goodness, that was swerving all over the place, and Bolton had to make sure he got behind that one. Taken all of 25, 28 yards there by Dave Thomas, moving a lot in the air, and Bolton got well behind it in the end. Leighton James. Dave Mackay there, half turning round. I would have thought a manager with an away side reasonably satisfied with the way it's going. Jim Gregory, the Rangers chairman, in the front row. Henry Newton. Parks getting there and needed to fist that away, and got a good deal of length on it as well when Francis Lee went in. And a foul given against Jerry Francis. Another free kick to Derby. So a free kick to Derby. McFarlane's come up for this one. Nish and Rioch behind this. Rioch hitting not a very good free kick, but it might bounce for Gemmell. In fact, it'll come now for Thomas. Now this could be very interesting. 4 Rangers men up and 3 of Derby back, and it still could be interesting if Masson can make something of it. But Derby back quickly. So important that Dave Thomas's first pass had been accurate, which was just off. And certainly it must be a rather problem, a bit of a problem there for Dave Sexton, leaning forward, the Rangers manager, to find some way of breaking down this very good-looking Derby defence. Lee, Webb, McFarlane. For an away side, they are really very much in command at the moment, Derby. Lee trying to turn it on for Charlie George, and now for Leighton James, hit too high. A chance really to start repaying that massive transfer fee there with a really valuable goal. But as the ball came through to him, he hit it hard enough with the left foot, but too high. So a goal kick to Queen's Park Rangers. McFarlane, George, Rioch, now McClintock. Masson. Jerry Francis played back nicely for Leeds. That's some nice football by Rangers. And now Dave Thomas. Todd coming across to cover him. Across there towards John Hollins, heading that one down in. Now can Gillard get there before Charlie George? Now Charlie George. The long ball hit towards Francis Lee, almost a 1-against-1. 2 doughty old campaigners there, Lee and McClintock, wanting Leighton James to come up quickly. Beaten by Hollins. Here's Masson. A little casual there, Masson. And a chip just over the top from David Nish. Nice quick thinking there between Nish and Francis Lee. And a touch by Lee, which was a very good one. And Nish's chip just a little too high. Gemmell. Webb. Rioch bursting in quickly there. Oh, look at that for a bit of acceleration. There's a chance maybe for Rioch. It's still on for him. Francis Lee trying to get in there with a header. Henry Newton trying to get in there as well. And finally it was Clement who got it away. But a brilliant run there by Rioch, accelerating all the way. And when the chance seemed lost, he found it again, and Lee couldn't quite get the header in that would have counted. Charlie George. Masson in first. Free kick. Oh! And Masson and Charlie George are getting involved. Masson went down and the Rangers players were quickly there to intervene, along with the referee. Henry Newton and Archie Gemmell and Roy McFarland are over Don Masson, and the referee now having a strong word with Charlie George. And it looks as though Don Masson, that valuable midfield player, is going to go off the field, and I wonder if they'll bring young Phil Nutt on, a 17-year-old, who is just beside the trainer's box. There he is. But I think they might well feel that they can allow Masson to go off and see whether he can quickly put it right. That'll be a free kick to Rangers. So Rangers down to 10 men. Masson's been carried to the dressing room, but still no sign that Phil Nutt is going to get changed and come on to bring them up to full strength. Gillard's free kick. Leach on the far side. A whole posse of Derby players to get it back. Hollins turning it in, and Henry Newton away. Here's McClintock. Hit first time, and a good shot by McClintock. Hit that beautifully on the half volley, kept it low. That would have crept just inside the post. Offside against Francis Lee. Still Phil Nutt sitting there, no sign of him coming on. Bad slip there by McClintock. Francis nodding it down for Givens. McFarland the long boot away. McClintock under it, being harassed by Francis Lee. He knew that he couldn't afford to nod that one back to Parks. Nish. Hollins. Leighton James doing some tackling back there. Leach obstructed by Rioch. I'm not happy with some of these Derby County tactics at the moment. It's Jerry Francis on the ball now for Rangers. Givens playing it back for him. He's got Gillard wide. Here's Gillard. Cross hit fairly low, and it might come in again. McFarland is there and has half lost it. Givens with a shot, and that was beautifully saved by Bolton. Just a half mistake in that Derby defence, and Givens was on it with a good shot on the turn, well saved by Colin Bolton. Todd finding Gemmell. Nish making a good run there on the blind side of Dave Thomas. And it's got to be a free kick. Obstruction, indirect. Quickly taken. And it's got to be taken again. While they are waiting to take it again, signs that Phil Nutt, the 17-year-old, is going to come on, which means that Don Masson not fit to come back. So Phil Nutt is on. There's the free kick again. Well, in behind for a corner this time by Thomas. So in the last seconds of the first half, a corner to Derby County. Charlie George right in there. Roy McFarland right up. Just about time to take this, I would think, and not much else. Nish, right-footed there. Pushed away by Phil Parks. And a throw to Derby. Thomas will take it. All the signs that it'll be a long one towards the near post. Lee trying to turn it back. Oh, you shouldn't play around there. And Leighton James very nearly got in a shot that really would have counted. It cannoned off Hollins when it seemed bound for that far corner. Messing around there in their own penalty area, and it nearly cost them dear as the ball came to James, finally cannoning off John Hollins. So Gemmell with another corner for Derby. Hit towards the near post again, a backward header, and somehow, once again, Phil Parkes got there. Backward header there as the whistle goes for half-time, and Parkes saving it. So Bruce Rioch took a fair bit of stick in what was really a disappointing first half. So too did Charlie George with some of the Derby tactics, but overall Derby have looked so composed, and they've really looked like a side so difficult to beat, even by a side with as much skill as Queen's Park Rangers can muster. A half-time score at Loftus Road: Queen's Park Rangers 0, Derby County 0, and we'll be right back with the second half.
The large match, Queen's Park Rangers versus Derby, Part 2.
So welcome back to Loftus Road. Derby County's turn to kick off the second half. The only problem for them was that Bruce Rioch was about 5 yards inside the Rangers' half when they did so. So back it'll have to come again. Charlie George then, going to try something extravagant? No. And away we go. Derby now attacking the goal to our left. Really have defended well in that first half, Derby. They've looked a very composed, almost a complete side. Very sure of themselves. Webb back to Parkes. Todd and McFarlane absolutely magnificent. Lee and Rioch very lively. And it's clearly going to be difficult for Rangers to beat them down. Phil Nutt, the 17-year-old substitute, on for Don Masson, of course. Gibbons jumping well. Dave Clement to Jerry Francis. Clement again. Thomas. Again, a long-range shot. And you could see by the way that Bolton was positioning himself behind that, it was moving a fair bit in the air. Again from some 25 yards, Thomas letting that one go. Flicked wide there. Rioch couldn't control it. It's a difficult one for him. McClintock. Here's Francis. Dave Thomas, and he couldn't keep it in, the whistle's gone. Flag up, whistle gone. Throw to Derby. And away goes Leighton James, except that Gillard, just as he was right at the outset of this afternoon, sticking close to him and doing such a good job. Clement, Francis, Leach has gone on ahead. Nutt, Clement again. That's aimed towards Mick Leach and Dave Thomas on the other side. Here's Thomas. Shot well, oh, and he hit the crossbar. He couldn't have been unluckier if he tried. Found a beautiful yard of space on that right foot. Hit it powerfully, beat Colin Bolton all ends up and hit the crossbar. Givens. Free kick. Again, Rioch is the guilty man, and the free kick already taken. Hollins floating a good one in there towards Nutt. Yes! Phil Nutt has done it! The 17-year-old has broken the deadlock as Hollins floated that ball into the centre. He escaped for a moment and his header was wide of Bolton, and that could be a decisive goal. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Derby County 0. Now Lee. And now Nutt. Under more pressure than they've been all afternoon. It looked as though they were quietly and efficiently and with great composure coming away with a point. Now they've got a job to do. Thomas. Now Francis. Chipped in again towards Leach, and he's onside, and Bolton could have been in trouble. Now Gillard. Thomas. Todd. Good pass there. And Leighton James is on the move now for Derby County. Handball against McClintock. McClintock running across to the linesman. It won't make any difference. The whistle had gone. The free kick given to Derby. And there's the free kick floating in there. Charlie George right in. Parks didn't get his fist to it. If anything, he got his fist to one of his teammates, Jerry Francis. So Rangers still under pressure. Henry Newton with the shot, and it's rolled. Goal kick to Queen's Park Rangers. The atmosphere absolutely tremendous here now. Cheers are so much for this 17-year-old lad. Clintock, this time that header completely. Here's Charlie George, a touch for Leighton James. Todd, cut out again by Jerry Francis that time. Here's Gemmell now. A well-hit shot that needed to be pushed over. Phil Parks had a good sight of it. Nobody really in his way as Gemmell struck it. Turned it over well. Corner to Derby. Rob Thomas is up. McFarlane coming up. It's from these sort of situations now that Derby have got to produce something if they're to get this equaliser. Phil Parks punching that one away. And McFarlane, I'm bound to say, rather harshly dealt with there by the referee. But if anything, Phil Parks ran into him. Sometimes I think goalkeepers get a little too much protection. Givens, another jump, but he was out-jumped that time by Roy McFarlane. Henry Newton. McFarlane. Robbed by Nutt. Gemmell. Played for Rioch. More passion about this game now than there's been all afternoon. James to Nish. McClintock behind that one. Now Rioch. Oh, there's a good ball by Rioch, and there's a chance for Leighton James. Turned in again there for Charlie George. And he's missed the chance, has he? No, it's put in there by Rioch. Well, it looked for a long time as though Charlie George had a chance after Leighton James had turned it in, that Charlie George had a chance. It looked as though he'd lost it. In the end, the ball found its way to the number 4, Bruce Rioch, and he has scored the equaliser. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Derby County 1. Bruce Rioch the scorer. Well, it's a good finish. Givens is up again, a free kick to Derby. Webb with a header. Now Clement. Comes through to Nutt again. Here's Givens. Rioch there this time, and didn't really get that away as well as they should have done, Derby. Leach, Clement, McClintock. So little time left now, though. Collins down, and Henry Newton put in there. Free kick to Queen's Park Rangers. On my watch, we're already in injury time. Referee, in fact, has just checked with both his linesmen. The time is up. He's had a look at the watch. Collins floating another one in. Bolton didn't get to that one. And it's over the top for the whistle, I think, had gone. And in fact, it's all over. And it finishes 1-1. And it says a lot about Derby County and their ability to come back. After Phil Nutt had scored with that header for Queen's Park Rangers, and they seemed destined to get 2 points. It was Bruce Rioch who came back. It was Bruce Rioch who came back and got the equaliser for Derby County. So we're left with a good finish to the match that finishes all square. The final scoreline at Loftus Road: Queen's Park Rangers 1, Derby County 1.
And I think it was a draw Derby deserved, but I suppose Rangers fans might be wondering if it could have been different if Don Masson had not been injured, even though Phil Nutt came on to score a very important goal and play well. And the news of Don Masson is that he went to hospital for an X-ray on his damaged ankle last night. Nothing broken, just badly sprained, and it's too early to say yet whether he's going to be fit for next weekend. Also, as some newspapers this morning suggest, was it a mistake for Rangers to leave out Stan Bowles? Well, maybe it was. But I can't help thinking also that manager Dave Sexton probably gained a lot in the eyes of the rest of his team by proving quite clearly to them that no one player, no matter how good, is bigger than the club itself. And Dave Sexton told me today that Stan Bowles' reaction to being left out was exactly the reaction that Dave Sexton wanted from him, and it pleased him. And my feeling is that Stan Bowles will be back in the Rangers side next week away to Liverpool. But what about that shining moment for 17-year-old Phil Nutt, who played so well, as I say, in the second half, and I'm sure it's a goal that he'll never get tired of watching. Here it comes again now. As John Hollins floats this ball in, I suppose it was the one serious mistake that Roy McFarlane, caught in no man's land there on the edge of the box, had made the whole afternoon. And just look at the space there between those Derby defenders, one of them Colin Todd, for young Phil Nutt. But having said that, he got up well and directed that header beautifully, wide of Colin Bolton and into the back of the net. And then, of course, it was when his troubles began, because he was then engulfed by those joyous Rangers players and one or two supporters as well. That really must have been a great moment for Phil Nutt.
Well, I still can't really believe it, you know. I don't know, it's something that you hope for, but I think I was a bit lucky, you know, because Don Givens made the way for me, and I just drifted in there and I just headed it and it just went in the near post.
And then what happened?
Well, I was in a daze. I just, you know, turned around. At first I thought Colin Bolton was going to save it, but then it just bounced and it went over his hand and it went in. I just turned around.
There were about, I think, about 10 blue and white hooped shirts just about diving on you at that point, weren't they?
That was when I just realised it was true. Yeah, it's just something to dream of, really.
What did Dave Sexton say to you afterwards?
Well, I walked in and said congratulations, like, on the first goal. So he was very pleased with me,
Yeah.
so no, I thought that was good.
I think he was very pleased with your performance throughout that second half as a whole. I mean, you seem to have a lot of confidence.
Yeah, well, when I played against Stoke, when I come against Stoke, that helped me. Now, that broke the ice, and when I come, I was obviously nervous, but I felt a bit more confident. And once you touch the ball once or twice, you know, you get your confidence up anyway.
And you're 17?
Yeah, that's
when are you 18?
Next May.
Were any of your family here to watch this great day today?
Well, I think it was my dad definitely came, but I weren't sure if my brother or my friend came.
Where are you from, in fact, Phil?
Pimlico, inside Victoria.
Yeah, and how long have you been at QPR?
This is my second year. I joined when I was a schoolboy.
And you're settling in well?
Oh yeah, I'm really enjoying it down here, you know, especially last year and I'm pleased with this year as well.
Can you ever imagine a moment to equal that one?
No, I don't think so. not at the moment anyway.
You think you might be reading a few papers tomorrow morning?
Well, I hope so, yeah.
And you'll be watching the big match, I've no doubt.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Good. And let's hope he's enjoying it as well. But of course, before we leave the QPR game, our slow motion camera picked up a point for which I think I must apologise in sympathising with Dave Thomas when his brilliant second half shot hit the bar. I think I must have also done less than justice to the Derby County goalkeeper, Colin Bolton. Have a look at this again now. Thomas now does so well here, and from some 25 yards really hits a superb shot. But in fact, Bolton just gets a touch to it. Look at this now. You'll see the slight change in direction there as he just touches it up onto the crossbar. And so although, of course, it was rotten luck for Dave Thomas, I think we can also say that Colin Bolton there brought off one of the great saves of the season and maybe one of the greatest of his career. Now let's move on to our second game, and it's between Luton Town, with all their money troubles, and their crowd yesterday was only just over 10,000, and West Bromwich Albion, who've been making such a fine run under their new player manager Johnny Giles, except that Johnny Giles was sent off yesterday to spoil everything for them. So it's Luton against West Bromwich Albion. The pictures come from Anglia. Commentator Jerry Harrison, and Luton are in the plain shirts and dark shorts.
Goalkeeper Barber came out a few yards and told him to turn and hoof it, and he did well, but the return pass from Ron Fuchs not good enough there. Martin challenged by Buckley, and that's a free kick. Ron Fuchs might be in a little bit of trouble here from Mr. Reid. Giles is 35 now, player manager of a club at this level of the game must be very, very difficult. Meanwhile, Mr. Reid speaks to Ron Fuchs. Mr. Reid was the referee earlier in the season here in the game between Luton and Chelsea when he had a few problems. Faulkner getting out behind Mayo, but it only comes down to Martin. He can't control it. And Ron Fuchs was fouled there by Giles, and Giles is going to be booked. Well, that was 30 seconds after the original foul by Ron Fuchs on John Giles, and there's a reply and the referee's answer. Well, the warning is very clear, is off. Well, another Albion player's coming over to Mr. Reid to protest. It was the first time he'd been penalised in the game. We've only had 21 minutes, and it came as a retaliation after Ron Fuchs' foul on him. And Mr. Reid, his action very, very decisive. He's gone. And time for Faulkner and Buckley. Aston goes wide on the left, taking Mulligan with him, leaving space for Buckley to go. He's got a good left foot. Oh! Oswald never saw it. He still hasn't seen it. Where did he come from? Well, he came straight from his own half, steaming forward with Aston pulling a defender wide, giving him even more space, and a good look at the goal and a shot which just crept past that far post. Robson. Nicely played by Chambers to Husband, and now West out here. Good play. John Aston. West is still wide. Gets it. Good play by West if he can get by Martin. He has, and it's cut out by Robertson. Buckley, a good cross. Osborne, now it's King. A minute before half-time, Andy King, who's posed the biggest threat to Albion's defence in this half, opens the scoring for Luton Town. And a good cross by Buckley from the left. First time. The goalkeeper came, but only punched it down straight to King. He didn't panic, controlled it and whacked it in. Down to 10 men and a little bit demoralised in some areas of the field, certainly in the last quarter of an hour of the first half. But on the break they've looked quite sharp. Robson. And here goes Martin. Flick from Mayo. Martin's still going, got a good chance, there's a great goal. That's a lovely goal from Martin. Within 45 seconds of the start of the second half, and what a fight back by West Bromwich Albion. The ball pumped forward to Joe Mayo, the big centre forward flicks it off and Martin keeps going, and finally the goalkeeper comes out and he's just got to put it over the top, and he does it well. And King getting away well there. Good ball to John Aston. Husband getting into the middle. It's in! What a bad bit of goalkeeping. The dejected face of John Osborne. And the happy face of John Aston. Well, there was a good ball down the left to Aston. He had a lot of room and he also had a lot of support. My word, he didn't half-fire that left foot shot in and caught the goalkeeper by surprise, pushed it into the top of the net.
2-1 to Luton. And the sending off of Johnny Giles really was a classic example of the revenge motive in football. A few seconds earlier, he'd been furled by a really disgraceful challenge, I thought, from behind by Luton's Ron Fucher. And although it's easy to say from the warmth of a television studio, you can only feel, I think, that Johnny Giles has really been in the game long enough not to lose his head in the way he did in retaliating. And as we look again, we'll see the referee was right, I think, to send him off. If we want to bring more skill back into the game, this is just the sort of challenge that's got to be punished. There, over the top of the ball, onto the opponent. Fucher is felled, and Giles must face his punishment. And it was quickly meted out to him there by referee Reid. Luton, as I say, went on to win 2-1. Now let's take a quick look at one of your letters, and it comes this week from Mr. S. Hills of Chatham in Kent, who asks, how do referees define dissent on the field of play? The answer comes from none less than Gordon Hill, former league referee, and a very excellent one at that. This is his version of dissent.
It's quite clear in the laws of the game. It states categorically a player must not show by word or action disagreement or dissent from a decision made by a referee. That's the law quite clearly stated. I think referees take two actions on it. One, the dissent that's going on all the time, unknown to the spectator. It's going on in the game quietly in the background, as opposed to the outburst of dissent where the player's waving his hands all over the place. That a referee will stamp upon because it's an open action indicating I disagree with the referee. Not to be tolerated.
Now we've got a follow-up to that fascinating item in yesterday's On the Ball programme that you may have seen already, where Duncan McKenzie of Leeds United showed us his quite remarkable ability in throwing a golf ball very long distances. One of his throws has been measured at 125 yards. And on a bleak morning at Ellen Road last week, in his street clothes and with a slightly strained right shoulder, he still produced a throw there of some 111 yards. As we look at it again in slow motion, when he gets to the other end of the field, it's a prodigious throw. Just look at the edge of the 6-yard area and you'll see that golf ball bouncing down there by the 6-yard area. Just seeing it. And in fact, the Leeds United manager Jimmy Armfield and the Leeds players confirmed that in warmer weather and when his shoulder was in good trim, Duncan McKenzie in fact had thrown the length of the pitch and onto the terracing at the far side, a distance of some 125 yards. Well, no sooner had Derby County arrived at Loftus Road yesterday than Colin Bolton, Francis Lee and Roger Davis, who'd all seen the programme, all came up and said that they could do better, and indeed had done so at the baseball ground. I'm just wondering if any professional or club football, or schoolboy footballer for that matter, can beat 125 yards with a golf ball. All I can say is mind out for passing traffic and neighbouring greenhouses, but let me know if you can do it. I can see even now we might have to organise a grand golf ball throwing contest. Our on-the-ball penalty prize competition is also reaching its later stages, with the final to be played again at Wembley at the League Cup final on February 28. And yesterday at Loftus Road, we had the London area final. It became a playoff between two 14-year-olds. Here's Bobby Mancini of Bushy Hall School in Watford, having his shot saved in the playoff by Orient's popular goalkeeper John Jackson. So that meant that young Mark Bell of Feltham School, who was next to go, here he is, if he could score, then he would go into the semi-finals. Facing John Jackson again. A beautifully struck penalty. John Jackson beaten, and it's Mark then who goes into the semi-finals. And our thanks, of course, to Queen's Park Rangers for all their help and cooperation with that penalty prize at Loftus Road yesterday. We come to our third game now. It's Sheffield United, who've taken only 5 points from 20 games, and they really are at rock bottom in the table, against Manchester United, right up there amongst the leaders. The pictures come from Yorkshire Television. Commentator Keith Macklin. Sheffield United in the stripes.
Eddie trying the through ball, picked out by Buchan. McElroy, a perfect one for Pearson, and the first goal. The second minute of the game, and Eddie Cahoon must take some of the responsibility for that. He was caught out of position as that ball floated over. Here you see it. It was McElroy who brought it under control. A beautiful pass in the path of Pearson. Brown got his hand to the ball, but could only deflect it into the net. Deflected by Daly, might well have been handball, but advantage to Sheffield United as Bradford brings it away. Ludlam gets it again. Now Macari has it. Dearden hustling him. Houston. Hill. Houston. Worked it through well. Punched over for Pearson, but Eddie is there. It's a Sheffield United throw. Bradford. Garner. Straight to Forsyth. Forsyth again from Daly. Macari. Fine ball to Koppel. Behind Koppel, Daly. Forsyth's got a bit of space just outside the penalty area. Can hit it. Hill! Tremendous save. Hill again. Goal from the nearest of angles in the second attempt. It's Hill's made it two. And while the rest of the Sheffield United defence appeared to stand and watch, Jim Brown fighting a lone battle, saved the first one. It's Forsyth now who gets the ball unmarked. Looked like a shot, but was really a fine pass to Hill. Great save by Brown, but this acute angle shot made it two. Greenhoff. Badger got it back. Johnston up towards Woodward. Penalty. Mr. Capey had a good view of that incident and immediately blew as Woodward went down. Let's see as Johnston crosses. Down goes Woodward, and Mr. Capey thought it was a penalty. So Sheffield United, who've trailed most of this game, who've been largely outplayed, have an opportunity through Keith Eddy, their skipper, of pulling back into a game that seemed lost. If Eddy lands this, it'll be his fourth penalty success of the season. Second attempt. Here's the penalty. Hits the crossbars. Eddie turns away in self-disgust. Dearden cracks in the rebound. Houston, Pearson galloping. Brown didn't see it. No. I think there that Jim Brown thought he was getting back on his line and didn't realise the danger. Long through ball, Pearson. Here's Brown now, and Pearson unable to slip it in. Again Houston. McIlroy. Good running by McIlroy. Good tackle by Bradford. But missed pass. Coppell. What a save! Point blank by Brown. Again Coppell's denied. Absolutely point blank. Comes off the deflection to Coppell. Cracking shot, cracking save. That's twice in 2 minutes Steve Coppell's been denied. First by Franks, then by Brown. There's his corner. Field. Thumped down by Ludlam, back by Greenhoff. Off field to Coppell. Coppell going in for his third attempt. That's for Pearson, and that's 29 minutes of the second half. That slip let Coppell in. He decided not to shoot from the angle. He knew Pearson was there, and Pearson knew the goal was there. Corner of Garner. Coppell, like Hill, a winger, not afraid to take on the defence. And certainly happy to stay on the touchline, as he does now to take this corner kick. Pearson, McIlroy, Houston! Macari off the line. It was Brown who made the first save, Garner who made the second, Houston and Macari who almost scored. Here's the corner that caused all that trouble. Pearson's header, McIlroy tried to turn on it, came out to Houston. That was Brown, that was Macari, and that was Garner. Another corner for Manchester United, really tightening the screws on this match. Eddie getting it at the second attempt. And out to field. His first chance to shine as an attacker after coming on as sub. Johnston. Greenhoff saw that. McCarty brings it away. Coppell. Forsyth. Buchan. An interception, spreads of another corner. Franks once more getting across. Coppell for Macari. Coppell brought the corner down with his head, and all Macari had to do was touch it over the line. There's the corner. It goes flying right across the defence. Right to Coppell, and there's Macari, just a touch, 4-1.
So another excellent win for Manchester United. They now lie third with the same number of points, 28, as Queen's Park Rangers, Liverpool and Derby County. Well, next week the big match brings you another of our Christmas special programmes. It'll be filled with surprises. I can tell you it'll also have our latest fun spot, And as in past years, we shall have 3 leading players taking over the studio for the day, just as Terry Mancini, Terry Venables and Rodney Marsh did for us last year.
Anyway, the last letter this afternoon is from Jeff Cook, aged 5, from 67 Wisden Road, Stevenage, Hertfordshire. He says, Dear Brian Moore, after your interview with Rodney Marsh last week, I thought I would like to give him a Christmas present. Well, I'm going to give it to TV for Rodney.
Oh, nah, a bit strong.
No, I think it's a wonderful gesture. It's about time someone combed his hair.
But you're not really in a position to have a go at people's hair, are you? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you this to Rodney if I can give you a flannel. Give it a wipe over.
No. I always carry
That's
me
very
over.
nice of you.
All right, that's from Jeffrey.
Thanks a lot, Billiard Ball.
So that's our Christmas special big match next Sunday. And that's all for today. And what better to leave you today than with the moment I suppose all 17-year-olds everywhere would treasure. The sight of young Phil Nutt, not 18 until next May, scoring that crucial goal for Queen's Park Rangers against Derby County at Loftus Road yesterday. I know he'll enjoy seeing it again.
Givens. Free kick. Again, Rioch is the guilty man, and the free kick already taken. Hollins floating a good one in there towards Nutt. Yes! Phil Nutt has done it!